This is FE Peer Review. The date is June 28th, 2021. Summer solstice celebration. We wore white and danced in circles. But Mother Nature did what she was going to do anyway. And as the solstice approached, we prepared in the night, dressed in white, dancing in circles, in the moonlight. And no, that's not me, the redhead. I'm the balding gentleman off to the left outside the frame. But Mother Nature had something else in mind. So here's France, courtesy of Google Earth. We've got Paris up here in the upper right, and the yellow line is the prime meridian. And my plan was to set up right here along the bank of the River Loire, just to the southeast of Saumur. There's a little village called Parnay and another Suzé-Champigny. And that's my location. Here is a picture standing at the side of the road. There's a sign marking the spot of the meridian. And we're seeing the village of Parnay, kind of a higgledy-piggledy castle that lines one side of it called the Chateau of Marguerite of Anjou. And off to my left, just outside the frame, on the high ground, is a church, a Romanesque church dating from the 1100s. This was the 19th, and the day before, and I had thought to go out on the 19th in order to try to get an observation, just in case the weather wasn't good on the 20th. So it was thoroughly cloudy, and no chance of getting an observation on the 19th. So after I took this picture, I turned and walked up the hill to my left, to the chapel, which we will see in a moment. This here is the chapel above Parnay, and it has a little porch that was built in front, and that's where I hung out while I waited for a break in the weather. By now the storm had rolled in, and visibility had dropped considerably. At this point we can still see the trees in the distance here and a little car down the road. But that wasn't going to last for long. I don't think I've ever seen such a heavy, sudden downpour except for once before when I was caught in a flash flood in New Mexico, where it's a regular summer event. And so the storm just got worse and worse until the rain was blowing completely sideways and I was wet from head to toe. Meanwhile, a few miles away, a few kilometers away, this is what was happening. And so while I was standing in the porch of the little church above Parnay, this was developing just a short distance away. I couldn't see it. I think it was about 15 kilometers. I haven't checked the map, but it was close. Tornado developing there, and there you see it striking village of Saint-Nicolas de Bourgueil. And here's what it struck. A lovely little church in the center of town. The tornado took the stone bell tower right off the top of that church, dropped it into the nave. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. So that was the 19th, but not to be defeated. I was back out there the next day, the 20th. The solstice was actually, I think, at 3 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time on the 21st. So 2 p.m. local time here was within 12 hours or so, close to 12 hours of the actual solstice hour. So I could have done it the 20th, I could have done it the 21st, would have gotten pretty much identical results. Anyhow, I was out there on the 20th and set up again. I've got my little paper here and my pencil, sort of a gnomon, And what I had done was I had created a simple graph here where the shadow of the pencil, wherever it touched these marks, it would give me the altitude angle of the sun, specifically for this day. I had to have the thing set up level, and I had to have my pencil perpendicular to the board. Here I'm checking the pencil, and in retrospect I see that it was slightly leaning, which may account for the about 3/4 of a degree error that I got in my final results. Here's my little level, showing that the whole thing is level, and it was a pretty close to level. It could have been slightly more perfect, but I wasn't able to adjust it any better than that. However, it had been cloudy all morning, all the way through lunchtime. It was now approaching 2 o'clock local time, and that was the critical hour, and it was cloudy. But then, at about 1 or 2 minutes before 2 p.m., the sun broke out. A hole appeared in the clouds, and the sun cast its beautiful rays through the clouds and gave me a shadow. And that lasted for about 5 minutes. Took a few pictures, and as you can see, the shadow was just a tad bit less than a degree beyond the line I had predicted for my location. About 3/4 of a degree off there. I think probably mostly because the pencil was very slightly off in terms of being perpendicular to the board. And so I got lucky. It was cloudy the rest of the day. That was the results from my location. Now the question was what was happening in other places in the world. Well, elsewhere, we have Nigel, who lives near Brighton, who sent me an email. Hi Tony, very sorry to report the cloud and heavy rain overhead at noon today. Sadly, no shadows to record. I hope you had better luck where you are. Regards, Nigel. And then there were my friends in London who went all the way out to Greenwich in order to actually be in Greenwich on the prime meridian at 1 p.m. local time, which was solar noon. And I got an email back from them that said, clouds. But they sent me a photograph anyway, so I could see for myself the cloudy day in Greenwich. My thanks to Asia and her 2 sons, Pablo and Francisco. We'll do this again on another day when there's sunshine. So my original plan, which was to have at least 3 people on the prime meridian at solar noon in order to do a proper Eratosthenes observation, was out the window. Mother Nature did not agree with my grand scheme and had her own ideas about whether there should be sunshine. But I did have one person in Germany, Edgar, thank you Edgar, who also was interested in participating. And since he was some 13 degrees east of me, we decided the best thing to do was for him to do one observation at solar noon in his location, and then another one when it was solar noon at my location, which would be a little bit later. So here we see solar noon in his location, along with his little notes to me. And the second group of photographs shows the second set of observations when the time was solar noon at my location and a little bit later for him. Now, I've only got 2 locations where we were able to get an image, and they do not align. So my original plan is kind of out the window here. I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do with all this data, which doesn't amount to much data, but what I've got to figure out what to do with it, and I haven't yet. So if you all have any bright ideas, please leave notes, please leave comments, and I will do a follow-up video of some kind to this. I can at least take Edgar's and my imagery and work something up. Your suggestions are definitely requested. And I would like to try to repeat this, perhaps later in the summer when there might be a better chance at predictable weather. I guess it's not strictly necessary that we all be on the same meridian line, but it would be nice. So again, if anybody's interested, if you're in the UK or southern France or eastern part of Spain, we might all be able to manage it so that we're at least within a degree or two of each other, and can do something like this again in the summer, later in the summer. So I'm thinking we might try this again later in the summer when there's a better chance at good weather. I'm looking here at Google Earth again. I've got the prime meridian in yellow, and I really would like to try to set it up where we could all be within a few degrees of the same latitude. So if there's anybody in the UK between 0 and 5, or somewhere in the western part of France or Spain that wants to participate in this, I've got an email address in the description of this video. Get in touch with me and we'll plan this out several weeks in advance. If you can get a copy of the little chart that I made that makes measuring the altitude of the sun very easy, I'll be happy to email that to you if you drop me a note. And let's see if we can't get a few people. So talk to your friends. If you want to participate, if you live down here in one of those beautiful coastal Spanish resorts, you'd be in a great location. I live over here in western France. Anywhere in Wales and the western part of the UK would certainly work, and we could certainly include other locations as well. So keep that in mind and drop me a note. Check the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day.